it starts off with a child death. Like,
what is it? Quiet Place. Yep.
Starts off with that.
Also, such a just okay movie.
Ryan, we got a lot to get to today.
I know. That's why I'm throwing it in there because I know we won't get to it.
That hurts.
It's like just an okay movie.
Okay.
Continue.
I'm gonna move on.
Welcome back to Recommendations Required, a podcast where two friends trying to find their next obsession, and maybe so will you. I'm Ryan Mion.
I'm Glenn Brown.
And we're back, episode 11?
I think 11, yeah.
Oh, wow. Just flying through this podcast. It has been what feels like years.
Hopefully to go. I do feel like we've been recording for years. It's wild.
I think the last time we recorded was like right after Thanksgiving? Christmas?
I think so. It has been a while for us with the holiday season and everything.
What is nice is that this episode will come out fairly soon to when we're recording.
Yeah, we're not.
But it also means
ahead.
we don't have a backlog.
That's true.
So we got to work on that backlog.
A little bit more pressure, but I like the being closer to when the episode releases.
Yeah,
it's kind of nice.
I do too.
Especially for this one because I'm so excited about it.
Yes, we will leave ample time to jump into it. One thing I did want to say is you were mentioning that our audience is really enjoying our openers.
Yes.
I want to throw this opener out, and I think it would be cool to do this as a consistent opener.
Okay.
Like maybe this is like our baseline opener if we don't have anything.
Okay.
So we're talking about things we like, things we don't. Mm-hmm. I think we should both talk about something we didn't like that we played, did recently.
Ooh.
Like things are like, I will not be recommending this to you.
Okay, because we don't talk about the things
Exactly.
we're not going to recommend.
Exactly.
That's a good idea.
And it's like, we don't really need to talk about it much because I'm not going to recommend it to you.
Yeah. But we might. Wow, that could draw a lot of hate on us, right?
Absolutely. All right, Glenn. Okay, so I'm just going to jump straight into it.
Oh, man. Hold on. Because I feel like I'm a father now, so I get very busy, and I don't have a lot of things I'm trying all the time.
That's fair.
It's going to be tough for me to come up with something I don't like, but I'm excited to hear yours.
It can also, it doesn't have to be things that other people enjoy.
Sure.
You can say like, hey, I don't recommend that you, I don't know, mess up your wood frame or something.
Okay.
It can be, if you really want.
Wood frame.
I don't know, something that you would
like
do.
Like a picture frame?
I don't know, like maybe you're making frame of a table. Like this table right now that we're recording on. I don't know. I'm trying to talk your language.
Okay.
I'm trying to give you softballs here.
Okay.
And you're whiffing them.
Sorry.
It's just nothing but air.
Just tell me what you hate.
Okay.
Tell me what you hate.
I equally love and hate this thing, but I want you to watch it because you would hate it, but I won't recommend it to you.
Okay.
Does that make sense? The gymnastics that we're doing here. So there's a show on Apple TV Plus called, or Apple Plus, whatever the hell they call it, called The Servant.
Servant.
Okay. It's a TV show that a couple episodes are directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Do you know who that is? Director of Sixth Sense. Okay.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay.
Of M.
Well,
Night
you know
Shyamalan.
what? You know what? Some people don't. So
how dumb do you think I am?
I'm not gonna answer that. So it's, you know how like your first thing was like you said the show has to give me equal amount of answers as it's producing questions.
Yes.
This show,
it's my number one rule on
produces a plethora of questions, doesn't ever answer them.
Oh my God.
And at
that's
one
the
point
worst.
stop introducing questions and just nothing happens. And here's the wild thing. There's 4 seasons. I'm all the way caught up, and Jackie and I've just she got COVID. I got tested twice and was negative, but I also felt kind of crappy, and so we were gone for the week, and so we just like binged this show.
Perfect.
And it was like enough of the. It's one of those shows where it's like it's so catfishing you, where it's like it's just enough interesting that like you kind of want to watch the next episode, but it's not good enough. It's not good
but you
either.
feel like you have to finish? Is it only one season?
No, it's 4 seasons. We
Wow,
watched all of them.
That's a
10
lot.
episodes a season.
That's a lot. Okay, only 10.
That's not bad.
Okay.
But yeah, so season 1, like interesting concept. And it's like not even worth explaining.
Okay.
Basically, mom, like this baby dies. The mom is crazy. they hire a nanny to take care of this doll.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay.
No.
Take care of this doll.
I just thought of something
The
else.
nanny comes in, and then the doll, like the baby is back.
Okay.
Like it's alive, and no one knows if it's her, if it's the nanny's baby, or if
weird.
she's magic.
Okay.
And they never quite go.
I don't like that.
Supernatural things, maybe,
So
maybe
it's-
not.
It's a doll?
It was a doll
Okay.
that was supposed to represent the baby that died.
Okay.
And it's like a mourning kind of like thing that like some people do.
Yeah.
I
I can't do anything with a doll.
Yeah,
I
it-
hate dolls. They creep
they
me
don't.
out
There's
so
no weird doll
much.
stuff.
I can't do
It's
dolls.
just a weird. Yeah. But that's right, because you have mannequins too, right?
Yeah, I don't like mannequins either.
Okay.
I don't like humanoid things that aren't human.
The uncanny valley is Glenn's hell.
Yeah, I hate it.
So, but season 1, 2, not very good. Season 3, incredible. Like
What?
so, like I was
Okay.
like, what happened? I literally was googling
Money?
it.
They got
and-
funding?
No, well, it's Apple. Like
Oh, yeah,
season
I guess
1,
they should
2
always have
episodes
funding.
directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Like they got the money.
Yeah, that's true.
Season 3, like so good.
Like the story got better? Or
Like the characters came.
cinematography?
The camera. No, well, the cinematography's great. Editing's great. Like it's weird writing. It's
Okay.
weird storyline. But like season 3 just like clicked, and then season 4 happened. Back to crap. I
That's
literally
so
searched. I was
strange.
Googling it. I was like,
Is
why
that
is
a
season?
consensus?
I was like, well, that's the thing. I was searching. I was like, why is season 3 so good? Like new writers. Like was there a new director that came in?
Yeah.
And they're like, the reviews were like, season 3 is just as good as season 1 and 2. And I was like, no, it's significantly like there's nothing
What?
about it. So like that's my thing that I think you should
Weird.
you should not watch.
I will avoid it at all costs.
But I want you to watch it so we can vent about it.
that's
But don't do
okay.
it. Don't do it. So that's my
Okay,
non-recommendation.
I do have a thing I'm gonna hate on, and to be fair, it might be something I'm hating on because it was overhyped to begin with. But
Valorant.
no. It is a movie called Barbarian.
Okay.
Have you heard
Justin,
about this movie?
Okay, wait. Okay. So Justin and I see the trailer.
Okay.
And we're like, this looks crazy.
Yeah.
Then Justin watches it with his friends.
Yeah.
He goes, it's so bad.
Yeah.
Then Dominic watches it and he goes, dude, it's so good. You have to watch it.
Great. Love
And
it.
I go, I could see, I trust Justin more than Dominic when it comes to the movies.
I could see
Sorry,
that.
Dominic. But like Dominic also understands the movies I would like.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
That's weird.
I don't know what to think.
Okay,
but now
so you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
And I might
So
watch it.
My experience is I'm on TikTok a lot, and I follow a fair amount of like film, TV show review TikToks.
Yeah.
And pretty much everyone was saying like this movie was amazing. Like this is what horror movies should be. Like this is the best horror movie ever made. Like people going on and on and on about it. And I'm like, I don't usually like horror movies because I think I like plot-driven movies, and usually horror movies have very poor plots. So I'm like,
trying
okay.
not to open a can of worms right now.
I know. So I'm like, okay, like I guess I'll check this out. Everyone's saying how good it is. So I rented it, watched it with Holly, and I was like, sure, it's crazy, like most horror movies. It's nuts, blah 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 blah. But it had like a good ramp up in the beginning and like a good mystery going on, and you're trying to figure out what's happening and blah 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 blah. And then
Halfway through.
and then kind of like it got to the end where you're like, okay, like how are they going to get out of this? What's the end goal of this movie? And the ending was just so lackluster. Like it just wasn't satisfying, and like I don't know, it just
Dominic's
it
gonna be so upset.
it
if he
wasn't
listens to this.
good. I don't like it was okay, like it was entertaining for an hour and a half, but it did not live
fell
up to
flat.
the hype.
Okay.
Yeah, it fell flat, and like
You're saying that a TikToker gave you the wrong
I know.
idea around a movie.
But it was multiple people though.
Yeah.
It was like a lot of people saying
Yeah.
how much they love this movie, and I wasn't seeing what everyone else was seeing. So yeah, I didn't really like it that much.
Okay. So I feel like I have to watch Barbarian though.
You should probably watch
I have to watch it because
You can
I'm
be in
getting
the
so mixed,
conversation.
so many mixed things. I can be
Yeah.
part of the conversation.
Be part of the conversation.
Thanks,
Get on
Glenn.
trends, Ryan. Come on, keep up. But yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone
Okay.
who does want to watch it. But like, I don't know. It's weird and wacky. But you did mention the like baby dying in that show.
Yeah.
And the reason I thought of something that people have started coining it the dead kid tax. Like they don't want to watch a show or a movie where you first have to pay the dead kid tax.
Yes.
Where like it starts off with a child death. Like,
what is it? Quiet Place. Yep.
Starts off with that.
Also, such a like just okay movie.
Ryan, we got a lot to get to today.
I know. That's why I'm throwing it in there because I know we won't get to it.
That hurts.
It's like just an okay movie.
Okay.
Continue.
I'm gonna move on. But being a new father, I like suddenly really understand that. I do not want to watch a movie or a TV show that starts with that. I just can't.
To be fair,
handle
the
it.
baby doesn't die. It's already dead.
Okay, I guess that's
which doesn't make
people
it a lot
have been
better.
mentioning that with the Last of Us TV show that just
started watching that.
coming out.
You
liking it?
I'm 20 minutes in with Jackie. I love it.
Did you play the video games?
I watched someone play it.
Okay, I haven't played the video games. I have no basis or like touchstone for any of it.
Let me get through
Let
me get through the first episode to say whether it's like.
Yeah, I'm not like I don't know.
Maybe
Like
I'll
I feel
recommend
like
it.
people are like super into it because they play the video games, and I haven't touched that world at all, so I haven't started watching it or anything. But
that's fair. Yeah, so far it's I've been impressed with it. So we'll see if it's the first video game.
I've heard
like
a lot of
actually
people
okay.
saying that they really love it because it's shockingly loyal to the source content.
So far it's
which is I
insane.
feel like just so rare for video game adaptations. You know, but usually they like take creative license and start changing a bunch of stuff that doesn't need changing. But like apparently some of the scenes are like shot for shot cutscenes from the video
it's crazy.
game, and people love it.
It's great.
So yeah.
I'm only 20 minutes in, so maybe I'll recommend it, but we'll see.
We'll see.
But I think we need to jump into this.
Okay.
Because not only I think are you excited for my review.
Yes. I'm so excited. I've never been excited for an episode like I am now.
I'm also really excited to recommend the current thing as well.
Okay.
So we're just going to jump straight into it. The Way of Kings.
Yes. I've recommended The Way of Kings.
So, yes.
Do you mind if I lead in a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
So I wanted to mention that I'm going to pull up my notes really quick. So I wanted to mention that the last time we talked and I recommended it to you, I mentioned that I had saw a podcast recommended it and I didn't remember the name. So I wanted to shout them out. I also follow them on TikTok. It's called 2 Wow. It's 2 to Ramble, 2 and then 2 TO Ramble.
Got it.
And they talk about books and movies and all sorts of stuff and like give it their
So
own
our
ratings
direct competitors. No, not even close.
A little bit.
We're not, we can't even compete.
But I just got into their content and I've been really enjoying it. But as I said, one of them said that they weren't much of a reader, and then they read The Way of Kings, and suddenly they were reading like 50 books a year, just absolutely addicted to reading, which is why I decided to try it, because I wouldn't describe myself as a reader, and I wanted to get back into it.
Yeah.
But I do have some fun facts to lead us in.
Okay.
If you're open to this, is that okay?
Let's go for it.
Okay. So I've been continuing to watch their stuff, and they keep talking about The Way of Kings and the series in general. And now my TikTok is flooded with this series. I can't, like every other TikTok,
Like this podcast or specifically
The Way of Kings and the Stormlight series is what it's called. My literally every other TikTok, I need to quickly scroll by because it's going to be a spoiler for the series. Like it'll be like it'll say at the top like spoilers for Stormlight series, and I'm like, oh, and I have to like quickly keep passing them.
It's the game. It's a new game.
Man, it's
TikTok.
the worst.
Avoid the spoilers.
But oh my God, I'm struggling right now. But on their podcast, they mentioned something very interesting. So, are you familiar with Goodreads? Did I mention this last episode? I don't think so. So Goodreads is like a book review website. So
yes, I do know about this.
You can go on there and rate books and like mark down what's on your wish list, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they obviously like tons of books are on there.
Yeah.
And you can rate them. So like books will have like millions of ratings.
Yeah.
So you get like a really good rating on a book across a lot of people.
Anthony's told me about this because he's a huge reader.
Okay. So I wanted to mention that they have like a top 100 list, and for some reason they're not in order. They're super weird, but they take basically the top rated book from a series and like put it on the list. So like I'll use Harry Potter as an example. They basically take whatever the top rated Harry Potter book is and put it as a contestant for that list, kind of thing.
Got it, like a tier or like a bracket kind of thing.
Kind of. So it'll be the top 100 rated books, but 2 books from the same series can't be on the list.
Got it. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw out there some fun facts. So the best rated Lord of the Rings book on Goodreads has a rating of 4.55.
Okay. Out of
5.
Okay.
So a 4.55 stars out of 5, and is on the 100 list.
Yeah.
The best Harry Potter book has a 4.62. That's the last book, the Deathly Hallows. The Way of Kings has a 4.65, beating both of those books. Okay?
Let me tell you, audience, right now what's happening. You're like, why does Glenn have all these stats? Because he is afraid. Because Glenn is scary. And he needs to.
I need to just
He needs to put on his armor.
The population is on my side. I'm going to start this conversation with that.
You're like, if you don't like it, you're wrong.
Yes, that's exactly how I'm starting this episode. This is where we're kicking off. But even more interesting, the top rated book on Goodreads,
The Bible,
at a 4.75. The highest thing on Goodreads is the second book in this series, Words of Radiance.
I thought you can't have it in the same.
The Way of Kings is not in the top 100.
Got it.
But that's just the rating. The second book is in the top 100,
which is the one you're currently
and
reading.
is number 1 on Goodreads. Wow. And I just started it. And I'm just so excited to read this book. So many people have been saying the second book in this series is like life-changing, and they wish they could erase their mind and reread it. So I just really want to take all of it in.
All right.
But yeah, just fun fact.
Okay. So if I have anything negative to say,
and I did not realize that, even recommending it to you, I didn't realize they were so highly regarded. I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've actually been like, as people have like been talking to me, I've been talking about reading or listening to the book. There have been like, oh, I've heard that, like, just a lot of random people that are also not people I expected to
hear about it,
or read about it, are into it.
I think some of it might be the fact that since I've read it, I'm now getting like
the recommendations and
getting
stuff
more of it and like realizing I'm seeing it more and stuff like that. But I feel like I found this one video that recommended this book, and now, like I said, my entire TikTok is all about this book. Suddenly everyone loves this book, and like,
is it that everyone loves the book, or is it the algorithm?
That's what I'm thinking. I think it's the algorithm.
I think it's a little both. Probably a little both.
Apparently this author specifically is like blowing up.
Yeah.
But which Brandon Sanderson, if we didn't mention that, he has another series called the Mistborn series.
Yes. Yep.
Which is like even bigger than this series. People love the series. Which I'll probably start reading at some point. But where was it going with this?
I don't know. You're putting on the shield. You got your armor on.
Wow, I just totally lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Brandon Sanderson writes. Oh, it's like flooded. Like all I'm seeing is this book.
Yeah.
But this book, The Way of Kings, came out like over a decade ago. It's so
it's like you feel like it's resurfacing like as of recently.
I guess so. Like I've seen so many people not just saying how much they love this book, but so many people saying, "Oh man, I just heard about this book and it's going to be my first book of 2023."
Yeah.
Like so many of that. And
you have like one. Yeah.
on?
If you have like one person who reads it who has a big enough audience,
I guess it just feels like it's. I've seen so many people saying, "I just finished this book."
So maybe we're trendy for once.
I guess we're trendy on a book that came out over a decade ago. Is what I'm saying though. That's just so weird to me. Like I tried looking up his sales because I'm interested to see like are they suddenly skyrocketing right now and it's just now getting popular or what? But I'm sure it's been around for a long time and I'm just late to the game. As
Glenn tends to be.
I'll stop rambling.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to say is this is a sweet and salty review.
Okay.
So neither totally negative nor totally positive.
Perfect. I love it.
Which one do you want first?
I did want to ask, you just listened to the audiobook, right?
Listened.
You did not read the book.
I did not read.
Because, to be fair, I think I recommended doing both. I understand that's like
no shot.
Wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, and I'm want to start off very impressed you finished the book.
45 hours, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
45
a lot.
hours.
We did have a lot of time between our previous recording, but man, kudos. That's impressive.
Thank you.
Because I think you really, maybe you'll agree with this or disagree with it. I think in order to talk about the book, you really have to have finished it.
You gotta go through. I could figure. I was like, I got like, there was a 20-hour mark. I think it was like last week.
Yeah,
it was like 20 hours. I'm like, I would like listen to it for like an hour before I went to bed. I would listen an hour during my workout. Like I just was cranking it, and I was just like, I'm gonna need to finish this because this is the direction it's going. It's like, I know that like so much shit is gonna go down in the last like 10 chapters.
Yes,
I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then
but I will say that I would recommend, even if you don't read along while you're listening to it, looking in the book, because at the end of every chapter is usually like an illustration of something in that chapter. So you're getting like maps and like little sketches of like creatures that are mentioned and stuff like that, which is really cool and like adds some depth to it, I think. And like,
so it's a picture book.
No, not at all. Not a graphic novel, but there's like little sketches at the end of each chapter, which usually just let you visualize a little bit more, because it is such a visual book.
I think. Yeah.
And it just gives you a little bit of like large scale picture of this world and like stuff like that. That like really helps with picturing it.
But I did none of that.
No.
So I just listened. So if you're listening, just know
he messed up already.
I already messed up. Glenn has proved to me that this is the best book ever made. A shortest podcast episode.
After
20
Star
minutes.
Wars, I feel like I gotta come in hot a little bit, backing myself up. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
The Way of Kings.
Yeah. You decide sweet or salty first.
From a fantasy standpoint, I think it has some of the best concepts and world building, and it's like, I mean, okay. It's not as in-depth world building as Lord of the Rings. Like, I don't know if anyone can really go that far. He made languages, like multiple languages, and talked about how those languages changed because of geography. Like, it's not arguable.
I feel like you use that argument a lot for Lord of the Rings, just the fact that he came up with languages. And I feel like there's a lot more other stuff in a world than just 100%. Languages.
And if you learn about the lore of it, there's so much that goes
I'm sure.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Sure.
It's not the best, but I'm just saying The Way of Kings had like
right off the bat, you're comparing it to the best fantasy series ever created.
Apparently not, because you just told me that this is the best fantasy.
It does beat it.
It does beat it. The books. I mean, Lord of the Rings. I haven't finished the books, so it's like they're pretty long and full of lots of songs. This is like, okay. How the hell do I explain this book? I loved it. Let me just put that right off the bat.
Cool.
You can take your shield down. I loved it.
To be fair, I feel like this is a really hard book to review. There's so much to it.
Okay. But so here's the thing. It is a hard book to review in the sense. There's an analogy at the like. Okay. Let me just put it this way. It is a really fun read, and I love everything he's doing it conceptually. I think like the characters are cool. I think like how the magic works, like the systems of stuff is cool. I like how this whole world is built around storms, like how he takes this like how would a culture and society work if there were these like great
devastating storms.
The ending was great, cool twists, just like oh, that's cool. Like there's a perfect balance of here's a question, here's an answer, here's a question. Like
it had my ratio of questions and answers. Yes.
There were characters that I obviously like enjoyed more than others.
Sure. Yeah.
The magic was cool. I liked also that it wasn't just like orcs and elves. You had these like kind of crustacean crabs, seafaring like kind of aesthetic with like how the plants would all the way the plants would work was also around the storm. How their currency work is also around this
storm.
It was and then like this idea of these like ancient people who like left these artifact like weapons that are really cool. The writing, man. The writing is like so matter of fact, so cut and dry. Like it just felt there were so many lines in it that I like made me feel like queasy because of how cheesy they were.
Oh, I did not feel like that at all.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
God.
coming at you
How
hard
many
now.
times? How many times does he say? And then he sets his jaw. That line, that freaking line
I don't know.
is like constantly
That
in
didn't
it.
stick
And
out
then
to
the
me
other
at all.
line that he always pulls is, "How could something so beautiful also be so deadly?" Like it was just that he had
recall
these
that either.
he had these phrases that he just
Okay.
consistent, and maybe
Just
I'm
repeated?
and just like kept repeating.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I don't remember it being
I
repetitive
loved
at all.
Kaladin. I loved Kaladin until he got his powers. And
Okay, so we're
And-
spoiling.
I'm not gonna say what powers.
Okay.
Maybe the powers of math.
We're gonna try and spoil very little here. I should have prefaced that, but yeah.
He
Sure.
he's the most anime character ever. He's so
anime character.
I want you to think about this.
Okay, I could see
Why
that. That's fair.
me?
That's fair.
I have to save them.
Okay,
it's
so
just
I have heard this is
oh
a
my
common
gosh.
complaint. There's a common complaint.
I wanna
that,
love
like,
him.
They,
I wanna
they
love
don't like
Kaladin.
his like
He's
moody,
so emo.
like yeah,
anime.
I loved every second of it. I loved. He's my
It's
favorite.
so
One of my favorite characters.
I
in the
know,
book.
I know he is because he's the
See,
he's
okay.
the Glenn archetype. He's the,
Okay, no, but I feel like
if you
his-
just try hard enough, then you can do anything.
no, but his character had like
And it ne-
actual meaningful internal conflict
that
that
never,
is interacting with the world in such a meaningful way.
but they never. It like there's really no character arc. Like
What?
yes, no, there's really no character arc
What?
because
What are you talking
I like this book by the way. I enjoyed it.
What do you mean there's no character
Because
arc?
for him, it's literally like it's just the same thing, which is I want to protect everyone,
Yes.
and I can't.
Well, now he can.
No, he can't.
Kind of. What do you mean?
Like but okay, then what you just said
Yeah.
too is not an interesting concept to me. Is like he struggles with the fact that he can't protect anyone. And
Yeah.
he trains so hard and he can't do it. Now he can. Like that's the weight of the character development
No.
is he becomes so powerful. Now he can protect everyone.
No, the weight of the character development.
I didn't hate him by what. Like there were definitely moments
But
where like
his,
I was
his
like, oh, this is
character
cool.
development isn't in the present day. His character development is
I
all
get-
the way from childhood.
I get that,
And, like,
but the
getting all of his
character
background
character's
is that
development
character
is the
development.
same thing. And then like I'm trying really hard not to spoil things. The thing
Yeah.
with his brother, like
Yeah.
it's just these these consistent things, and he's this moody emo that
Yeah.
like just wants to jump the cliff, and like then it's just like why me? Like it's always and like you have to think I'm listening to this,
Yeah, sure.
so I'm hearing the same lines over and over and over and over and over and over with him.
I don't remember it being that repetitive.
It's I listened to it 45 hours like
Yeah.
straight.
yeah.
So like it's just like at first I'm like this guy's dope.
Okay.
This is so cool. I like how he's this medic, like the
Yeah.
surgeon, and he knows all this stuff. And then like there was like I wish I could pinpoint it. There was like a turning point for me where I was like I can't. I want to love Kaladin, dude. I want to love Kaladin, but
I completely disagree.
he's
I was on board with
so-
Kaladin the whole time.
He's like Captain America.
no.
100%.
No.
100%
No,
Captain America.
nothing
He's
like
Captain
Captain
America.
America. No.
100%.
No.
Yes.
I completely disagree.
Yep, 100% Captain
No.
America.
No.
Because literally there's a shield scene.
Yeah.
He is Captain America. He's always noble. He's never wrong. Like it's just his biggest flaw is that he can't protect everyone. Like are you This is a 5-year-old. This is a 5-year-old like character development.
No, I completely disagree.
Oh my gosh. Now, okay, not Sadius, the
Delinar Kholin, my favorite character.
He's amazing.
I love Delinar Kholin.
Also a bit of a Captain America, which then I like it's just this
I give you that. He's a
but
little bit
his
more of
his
that
is a
archetype.
little here's what's interesting. Okay, here's
his
how
story is so interesting. I love it.
here's how Kaladin's story is fails in all comparison to Delinar's story.
I think Delinar's story is way better.
Delinar
to be
has
fair.
this core belief that he has gained that he turns away from his old self
Yes.
takes on this new identity.
Yes.
Now this new identity is being challenged
By literally everyone.
by everyone in multiple angles and himself.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's so good.
What's annoying a little bit with that is that it's just so cut and dry that it's like he held on to his values and it's what needed to happen and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like, it just, I don't know, that felt a little flat, but his concept was really cool. The not Yasna, but her ward, Shallan.
Yeah.
Great. I liked her too a lot.
Awesome.
Again, her concept, like she's thrown into this situation.
Yeah.
And she has to make sense of it and deal with her guilt and like walk with it. And like, I loved Kaladin's character. And then he just kept repeating the same fucking lines and was just like, I'm like, when does he, when
You
does,
don't think
like,
that's representative of his like character though?
I'm not, no,
Like,
what I'm
like
saying is that the
whole
dynamic
point of his character is that he feels like his life is repetitive and out of his control.
yeah.
Like that's the thing is he's in this endless loop
Not
of
out
misery.
well, no, yeah, and then it just kind of continues. Like now he has this power. Like he didn't really do anything different. Like nothing in his character changed. He's just now more powerful. Do you know what I'm saying?
I guess.
I'm fine with.
Why is that a bad thing?
Because it's just there's no dynamic to it. Like Kaladin's character is like there's a cool flow to it. And I think where I was looking for it is like even the moment where he's like about to break, like his dark night of the soul kind of moment, he doesn't really change. He just goes right back to what he's been doing. And then the same stuff kind of happens, except this time like things start to go a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then he kind of gets blessed with this thing, like these abilities. And then it becomes like, okay, so what changed? What changed? It's like, it would be like if it's like Captain America. He is the same character when he's skinny.
Before
he
and
just
after
gets
the
buff.
serum.
That's Kaladin.
Okay, I don't. I don't know.
It's just
I don't get what your complaint is.
Because it's just like he takes up so much of the story, and it's just a character that has no dynamic to me. Where I'm like, where is this going? Other than, oh, cool, now you can do these things.
Well, I think the big change in him is like his view of how the world works. Like he is constantly viewing the world in a way, and then that view gets shattered.
How?
Like when he's growing up, he wants to be a soldier. That's all he wants to do.
How does the book? Full circle, dude.
What?
Full circle. He wants to become a soldier.
Yes.
He then becomes a soldier.
Yeah, and realizes that that's actually not at all what he wanted, and it shatters him.
And then at the end, he becomes a soldier.
Yes, in the way that he originally wanted to become a soldier. Like the world keeps like shattering him in different ways and challenging who his identity and who he wants to be. And he keeps bouncing off that, and it's sending him to his brink, but then he fights back against it and is able to conquer it.
But he doesn't, his paradigm doesn't, like all the characters are, I'm going to do the thing that I'm set on doing, which is just so anime to me. Is like,
Maybe that's why I like this book so much.
And audience, you need to hear. I'm bringing this up because I need to vent about it, because I need to talk to someone who understands it. It's a good book.
Okay.
It's a great book, and I suggest a lot of people read it. If you're looking for a fun fantasy with really cool magic systems, really cool concepts,
I've heard they get
really
way
cool
better.
politics, and say, but I want to feel safe reading it, and I don't want it to like push any buttons. Like it's a safe fantasy book.
It's like a fun ride.
There's a really big event happen that towards the end, and he just doesn't have the balls to do it. He doesn't have the balls to do the thing that I think he should have done, which would have been way cooler in my opinion. Would have been horrifying. I was like, please don't do it, and he didn't. But I was like, reading. I'm like, this guy doesn't have the balls. He won't do it. And I mean, it would have, because then it's just like it's so everything's wrapped up in a nice bow. Even the Yasna and Shallan thing. It's like oh shit, oh crap, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know what you mean.
I want the events to feel like they have weight other than everyone got what they wanted. We're all heading in the same direction together. Like there's no real loss. There's no real
What?
Yeah. No.
What are you talking about? What, did we read the same book? What are you talking about? I don't even know where to begin.
What the loss is, like he's the slave. Like I get that, like these things happen in his life.
I mean, okay, Kaladin is like a classic. Like everyone in the book is like a classic archetype. It's not like a new invention of a character, right?
I know.
They're all like classic archetypes that we've seen before, but I feel like there's such good versions of those archetypes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for me, when I'm thinking about character development, I want the character to develop and change. Because and that, like, the whole hero.
Do you feel like every character was like that, or just Kaladin? Because
Kaladin was
Dalinar
the most.
had a really good arc.
Dalinar did it, like, watched
Shallan did.
Yeah, Shallan definitely did. And that was the thing. Like, I was like, okay, Shallan, this is like not so interesting. Like, there's no battle, but I just was so into her story.
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, we're going to put a pause on this for about 30 chapters.
I know, yeah.
And we're going to put it, I'm like, can we please go back to that? Because that's so much.
Really?
I was like,
to go back to that?
Because
I feel like most people weren't that interested in that storyline.
I
liked it.
No,
though.
but I liked it because there was character development. You had the shy girl who's thrown in the situation and she has to do something that's so outside of her character.
Yeah.
And then she learns to build this confidence.
Yeah.
She learns to also the sketching scenes where she's
so good.
I lost it. I was like, what?
I know. Okay.
This is a really good book. I need to keep saying that.
Okay. One of my favorite things about this book is I felt like the mystery pacing of it was perfect to me.
Yes.
Like we said with the question and answer things, they're keeping up. But not only that, I feel like he was giving the perfect amount of clues for things to hint you in on things.
Agreed.
Where you felt like you solved it before the thing happens, before he lays it out for you.
Yeah.
You have already solved it like 3 chapters before that, which just feels so good. You feel like you're catching on to these things.
Which is probably because I was reading it so quickly.
Probably. There were so many times where like Kaladin's kind of main arc in like gaining his abilities, I knew what was happening way before. Like little things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Little things were happening there where I was like, oh, I'm catching on to this.
Yeah.
But there was also things that was like the most obvious one.
Okay. Wait. Here's what it is.
Yeah.
I think the book is too patronizing to the audience.
You think so?
I think he thinks the readers are stupid, and I felt stupid reading it. There were so many lines that he would drop, and I was like, okay, I get what he's doing. And then he would go into explain it. He's like, so and so. I was like, are you just?
No, I felt like I'm going to completely disagree with you. I felt on the exact opposite of that. I felt like there was so many just like one-liners in the middle of a paragraph that gave you so much information, and he just never touched on it. Like he just drops this one line and just breezes right by it.
But that's purely plot points, though. What you're saying. I'm saying themes and concepts. He drops these lines.
Sure.
He drops a line and you go, wait, what was that? And then you go and then you're like, oh, okay. Because
there were so many times where I was like backing up and rereading that to make sure I read what I just read properly. Like, and I'd back up again and be like, that is a big deal. The thing you just said in that one line, and he just breezes by it like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
but then there's stuff where he's like, I just just today heard it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, because I was like loving it, and then at a certain point I was like, something about this is like really itching me the wrong way. It's like it would be like if you at the end of like Everything Everywhere All at Once, if then that YouTube video popped on as part of the movie. That's what it felt like to me. Is like, dude, I get it. I get the concept you're trying to explain. Because it's a really simple concept and you don't need to explain it.
Maybe I'm just dumb then.
No, I'm not saying you're dumb.
Maybe I needed it to be patronizing.
It's just like, it was something along the lines of like he couldn't save just like his father. Just like.
Yeah, just like everyone.
Just like da-da-da. You know? Just like da-da-da. I'm like, I got it. Yep, I understand.
I don't know. I liked it.
I get it.
Okay.
I'm not
That
trying to.
didn't
I'm not
bother
trying to
me.
hate it.
No, I know. That stuff didn't bother me, I guess.
And I think it's just like, for me, it's fantasy is like, every story is about the human experience and about how we change and the hero's journey.
Yeah.
And like, this is probably gonna be the last Lord of the Rings reference I'll bring up on this episode. But like, Frodo starts at the Shire. Frodo starts at the Shire, goes through all the Mordor stuff.
Yeah.
He comes back to the Shire and he can't stand to be there anymore.
Yeah.
Because he's totally changed.
Yeah.
That's just not, like, you can make that argument for Kaladin, right? Like, if he went back, it would be so different. But he was like, it just, to me, felt like at certain points, I'm like, this is so much more about this guy. Like, it's going to make the best TV show. Because it's so much more about, like, so much of the book is not developing the characters. So much of the book is building out the scenes and the battles and the magic.
And that's what I loved.
Which is cool.
So scenic.
And like, if you, like I said, if you want to like have a purely enjoyable, non-challenging fantasy book, this is it. And I'm not saying that to cut it at the knees or simplify it, because it's like, you also have on the opposite side of Game of Thrones, which is like, man, good luck getting through this because everyone you love is gonna die.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes you don't want to read that.
Yeah.
And like,
sometimes you just want a nice, fun ride.
and like, this was the book that I needed to read.
Okay.
Like, as of recently.
Okay.
And I enjoy it. And I
that's fair.
just needed, like, I knew you were gonna disagree with me on this Kaladin thing.
Yeah.
And it was like the moment when he really starts to get all the bridge people to like connect.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is dope.
I love it.
I loved it. I was like, there's going to be this breakout scene. And I even liked how they moved. Like, I liked everything that happened in the book. I wanted like a
bit more complexity.
A bit more.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's fair for me to expect.
On the note, you mentioned it being a TV show. I did see an interview with Brandon Sanderson.
I think you brought this up before.
Oh, did I?
How like a lot of people are coming up to him and
all the time and pitching him ridiculous amounts of money to invest in this show, and he just keeps saying no because he wants to do it right and he doesn't think it will. And I mean, now that you know, he specifically thinks that the hardest part is the spren.
That is constantly.
He doesn't know. He was like, I can't currently come up with a way to make the spren not look cheesy and weird on a show.
Yep, 100%.
Like without it looking like a Looney Tunes meets the real world sort of thing. So that's what he said he was waiting for.
Yeah,
but like movie or TV show, this would be insane.
That was literally one thing I was like, they might have to really cut down on the spren. If they do it, because it's like
so much,
and you're like, that's a really cool like concept.
It's really cool in a book.
Again, all these concepts are so cool, so cool.
Yeah, I love every system in this book.
Okay,
like
here's the analogy.
Systems,
Here's the analogy. Ready?
The religious systems, the magic systems, everything.
It's the most plain, not bad. It's the most plain steak, but it has the best seasoning, and it's cooked to perfection, and it has the best sides.
Okay.
But it's just an okay steak. But everything surrounding
it. It's an amazing steak. It's the best cut of meat I've ever seen.
You will love the meal, but it's not like A5 Wagyu.
I do have a question for you. So when I was reading this book, I felt like I got maybe a half, 3/4 of the way through, somewhere in there, where I was like, okay, I know this is a 5-book series, and dear God, do not leave this on a huge cliffhanger. I was getting
I know you were so happy about how it ended.
I was getting so worried.
It's the most Glenn book I've ever read.
I'll take that. I love it.
Like, not as an insult. Like, it's just like everything that you would want in a book.
It's there.
It's this
perfect.
book. I get why you love it.
It is my favorite book I've ever read. It is by far my favorite book I've
Absolutely
ever read.
not. But
I loved. So, like I was saying, I felt like I got to a point in the book where I'm like, oh my God, if this just gives me no answers at the end and just leaves me on a huge cliffhanger, I'm going to be so disappointed. And my favorite part was the ending of this book wrapped up so much of the book while still leaving you so many questions for you to keep reading. It was so satisfying, but also gave you so much motivation to go pick up the second book.
Okay.
It was perfect.
I just feel like I'm nitpicking, and I feel so bad.
No, go for it.
But
That's
it's
this
just
podcast.
It's just fun. I know. Didn't you feel though a little bit like because there's that twist at the end?
There's a lot
with
of twists
with
at
the
end.
assassin specifically.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
like, didn't you feel like that was like a little like? I love it.
Yeah.
Don't you wish they kind of like it felt a little shoehorned at the end?
It
Where it's
did
like
feel-
he's not
no,
mentioned.
I
He's
give you
he
that.
kind of
I
pops
give you
up
that.
here, pops up here, and then it's
Yeah.
like, hey, by the way, here's the guy,
Yeah.
and also, and you're like, okay, hold on.
I was okay with that though.
I thought it was good.
Because it gave me a huge question, but it wasn't a question I had been asking for the whole book.
That's fair.
You
Okay.
know?
Okay.
Like it popped that question, but it wasn't like, oh man, I'm not going to get an answer to that. I've
Yeah.
been wondering about it all book. No, it's like I've been wondering about it for 5 minutes. So now I want to go read the next book without it being like this thing I've been stressing about the whole time.
Here's the other thing I'll say. There is no podcast that I would listen to 45 hours to back to back and get even a close to the amount of enjoyment that I got out of this book.
Oh, perfect. Love
So
it.
like that's
So it was a good 45 hours.
it was good 45 hours. I
Love it.
just needed to talk about these nitpicky things.
No, that's fine.
Like because
I think
nobody wants to
we've
hear me
talked-
just
We've
rave.
talked about this on the podcast before.
Yeah.
You're the nitpicker.
Yes.
I'm the
Yeah, exactly.
I love every minute of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
100%.
this podcast, baby. Let's
Yes.
do it.
Here we are. Oh my gosh.
Okay. But overall score? Are you good with wrapping it up, or you got more to say?
No, I think we're good to wrap it up.
Okay.
We need to come up with some sort of score system here.
Well,
because-
maybe. I do want to say that before this episode, I did pitch you possibly talking spoilers. Like,
Yes.
We really tried not to spoil anything in
Yep.
this episode. I think we did a fairly good job. Like, this is all stuff that you might have glimpsed through social media. So, but I did want to pitch maybe doing a bonus content sort of episode where all we talk about is the spoilers and details of this book.
Yes.
I don't know if it'll happen, but
Yeah.
would you be down for that?
I would absolutely be down for
Okay,
it. Yeah.
okay. So
because I
maybe
think
that'll
I think there's like specific
There's
things that we could
specific
talk
moments
about.
I really want to talk to.
Absolutely.
Talk about it.
So
Okay.
if that's something you want, let us know.
'Cause
we'll
I-
record in a heartbeat.
I've also talked to people about this book after they have read it about specifics in this book, and they were like, "Oh my god, I didn't even realize that," or like, "Oh, I must have missed that line entirely," and they'll tell me something, and I'm like, "What? I missed that."
Yeah.
You know, there's just so many little things happening
Yep.
that like you miss them, and it's so interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
So we'll have to.
This
we'll
was
have to do
yeah,
a bonus content.
very
or
good recommendation. I'm glad I glad I read the whole thing.
something. Okay.
I would recommend it to
My best recommendation yet,
Ooh.
because I felt
It
like
is
this was my
it
best
is better than
recommendation
Cowboy
that-
Bebop.
Okay.
It is
Better than Star Wars.
I don't know, man. Star Wars was pretty ass. Oh my gosh, it was
What else
so
did I
bad.
recommend? Wingspan.
Wingspan is-
Scythe.
It's better than Scythe. I think it's better than Wingspan. This might be, yeah. I think this is your best recommendation ever.
I love it. I'll take it.
There we go. There we go. Glenn,
Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't grabbed this yet.
Oh,
I'm going to
really?
recommend,
Wait. Well, how are you surprised I've never grabbed it yet? Wait.
not the thing,
Oh,
but the
okay.
category.
Oh, the category. You have been beating me to categories.
I think it's the thing I'm going to try and do is beat you at
beat me to
every category.
categories. Interesting. Okay.
First video game.
I did try to give you a video game.
You did not
and
recommend me a video
You
game.
had already played it.
For so long. That was
Okay.
insane.
I do have a couple video games on my list,
Okay.
but yeah.
First
Okay,
video game.
First video game.
Okay. I think this might be my first recommendation that you won't enjoy. I'm
Isn't that kind of the
loving
point of
it.
this podcast?
No,
Or-
well,
I'm just kidding.
I can't. You have a very tight, like,
Scope.
scope,
Yeah.
literally and metaphorically, when it comes to video games.
Yeah.
Like first person shooter or nothing.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
It's
I've been diving into some other stuff
Okay.
pretty frequently.
okay. Well, okay. Let me just say the thing first, and then because maybe you've played it.
I guess when I do have like casual free time, I'm usually diving into a first person
Which
shooter
is fair.
because that's easy to do. But I've been dabbling in some other
Okay.
stuff that are on
Okay.
the list that are not
Okay.
first person shooters. So
Have you played Project Zomboid?
what?
Have you heard of? Okay, you haven't.
Project Sound
Zomboid, like zombie.
Zomboid?
I don't really
I don't even
understand.
know what you just said. To
Okay,
me.
cool. Perfect. Okay. So this is my current obsession right now. And this is what's fun about this current recommendation for me is because in the past, I think I've pulled on things
From the past.
from the past.
Okay.
Anti-time management, I didn't. Actually, that's not true. most of my recommendations except
You
for Everything
liar.
Everywhere All at Once. I'm a liar. Cancel me. Okay, so the game that I'm recommending is called Project Zomboid.
Okay.
Some people just call it Zomboid.
Okay.
Okay. So it is a zombie survival game.
Okay. There's quite a lot of those recently.
I know. It came out in 2011.
Oh, it's an old one. Okay.
The graphics look like you're playing Sims 1.
I've never played Sims.
You know what Sims look like, though, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm aware of Sims. I've just never played it.
You're like, I can't even imagine.
I just wanted to throw that out there
Yeah,
so
okay.
people could roast me for not playing Sims.
You know, you definitely need to play it. So it came out in 2011. It's an indie game. You know how I am with my indie games. Love it.
I feel like indie games have been a powerhouse recently.
They've been a powerhouse for the past 10 years, man. Like,
I guess so. I feel like
I
there's just
haven't
been so much
enjoyed-
more opportunity for indie games.
honestly, I have not enjoyed a AAA title. Like, it was Elden Ring
yeah.
was like the only AAA title
Man,
that's
I
like
need
come
to play
out.
Elden Ring.
It's great. And then I'm not gonna.
You heard it here first,
Yeah, it's
folks.
great. Yeah, exactly. What a hot
Elden
take.
Ring, good.
Okay, whatever. AAA, it's so bad. Like,
Yeah,
there hasn't been a good one in so long.
They just get churned the same
Exactly.
shit over and over again. Yeah.
So, and this is like why I'm excited about these games, and I just like love playing indie games, just because they bring in a really new concept.
I'm pretty
And-
sure all the games on my list are indie games.
Yeah, they should
Perfect,
be.
yeah.
So, okay, Project Zomboid
Yeah.
is a survival zombie game, which
Okay.
You've heard of it 100 times. Like,
Yeah.
we all know the concept. So you're it's a like
First person?
No, it's like kind of top down at an angle, as if you're looking at imagine
over the shoulder?
imagine like Sims, like you're
Oh,
looking at
okay.
your character and then
Isometric view?
they're like in the middle.
Got it. Okay.
And like once you see, you're like, this literally looks like Sims.
Okay.
This game is literally answering the question, what would you do if there was a zombie apocalypse?
Okay.
But like, not what would you do if you were a veteran or a sniper, but what would
You're just a normal dude.
What would Glenn Brown do?
Okay.
And technically it's a roguelike.
Okay.
But what really it is it's like, it starts the game with, this is how you die. It's like,
interesting.
do
we want to explain what a roguelike is?
roguelike is like the dying is part of the gameplay loop. So sometimes
you get sent back to kind of the same location.
same location, or like every time you die, you level up your skills, but you lose your equipment.
And usually you get like further and further into the same kind of strip.
Which
of
this kind of has
levels.
a cool dynamic there. But there's just so much here that I want to talk about.
Okay.
So the biggest thing about this game is there's tons of systems.
Okay.
So tons
Systems are
of
good.
food and cooking and carpentry and medicine and
okay.
it's a iceberg kind of a game.
Okay.
But you can play and have a lot of fun not knowing all the systems.
Okay.
I
feel like I've bumped up against video games that have too many systems and it feels like bogged down.
The systems here also don't feel they have never felt like have gone in the way. And like here's like one simple thing that happened that literally as soon as it happened in the first like 15 minutes of my playthrough, I was like, all right, I'm into this game. This is it.
Okay.
I am walking and I'm trying to break into a house. So I break the window because the door is locked.
Yeah.
And I jump through the window and I cut myself on the glass because you can clear the glass. And I didn't clear the glass. And so I'm bleeding.
Okay.
And I saw curtains and I was like, I wonder if I could use those as Band-Aids.
Okay.
So I tore the curtains down and I ripped them and then I used it as bandage.
This feels so specific. Like this was a preset thing you could do in your game?
No, this was something that just happened in my game. Like you're in an open world.
Sure.
And you spawn in as a character. You get to pick what kind of traits you are, who you are. Like you can, and the way they do like the ability system is really cool. You can give yourself negative traits, which give you points to put into positive traits. So you have to
a little
constantly
bit of D&D style.
Yeah.
Okay.
Constantly balancing it out. So like I was like looting houses and then literally saw this house, broke the window and went through this whole kind of event.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't know you could do it, but I was like, I wonder if I could use curtains.
It was just like an intuitive
thing. It was just an intuitive thing.
Okay.
And that's kind of like what all the game systems are. And so there's driving, there's guns, but like it just, you feel the sense of like, I would be so fucked in a zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
And we all go, you know what I would do?
I feel pretty confident in a zombie apocalypse.
And you can do almost everything we've talked about. Like we've had hour-long conversations about where would you go?
Talk about
what would you do?
Content episode.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like this is literally the game where you can go. It's more of a simulation than a video game.
Huh.
It's not a game to play in order to have fun. It's literally like, I want to go with my friends. It's multiplayer too.
Okay, good to know.
Like we've had up to 5 people together.
Okay.
And like it's one of those games that you just play and you work together as a team and you try to survive.
Is it like base building?
There is base building.
Okay.
Again, it's like you have to have higher carpentry to do different things like that. Like you can barricade windows, you can move things around, you can siphon gas out of cars, you can, like as you do things, you get better at it. If you read, that gives you other abilities and stuff. And so you're just, it's all very organic, and it doesn't feel, nothing feels gamey to me other than like, if you read something long enough, then you gain a level in it. But it also takes time. But then there's things where it's like your thirst, your heat, winter comes.
Yeah.
Like you start off in the game and there's power and water, and you have a couple days until those go out. And then you have to figure out, how are we going to get power and how are we going to get water?
Is it more of a team effort, or are you guys all in your own separate bases?
We've been playing as a team effort.
Okay.
So it's really hard to explain until you're in it, until you see it.
Yeah, like if I were to jump in with you now, would I jump into like your world and you would just be decked out already?
We could do that, or we could start a new world.
Or do you start a new world?
You start a new
like
world.
Minecraft, where you just start a new world for any pairing of people.
Yeah, like the servers work kind of like Minecraft.
Okay.
Would be like the best way to do it. So here's where the roguelike kind of gets cool. So if you get bit, that's it. There's no antidote. There's nothing. You're done.
You're a zombie.
You're going to be a zombie.
Okay.
So if you die, you can respawn as a new person, and you could go kill yourself as a zombie and get your stuff back.
Okay.
So
do you lose all your skills, like your mental stuff?
Yeah, so that's the thing, is like you basically, like, that person dies, you're now this new character. And it's
cool.
not
like that.
It's not roguelike in the sense of like as you die you keep progressing.
Yeah.
It's almost like you do runs. So like I'm going to do a run where I'm going to play as an overweight smoker farmer guy and see how long I can go. Like that's more, you don't beat the game, you don't win the game.
Yeah.
And like there was just this moment when we're in the base and we're clearing out this firehouse, and the clothes you wear also give you different defenses of how much they can bite. Your clothes can get ripped up. You would have to repair them and sew them up. And we're just like hitting these houses and we're looting stuff and we're finding things. And there's this level of dread constantly because it's like, once a swarm shows up, it gets
is it like hordes of zombies?
Yeah. Okay. Massive hordes.
Is it like sound draws them in?
Sound draws them in. You have to kind of like outrun them. You can go in the forest. I think like once you start playing, you just feel the depth of it.
Okay.
And you're just like, oh, there's a lot here.
Is this good single player and multiplayer? Or would you recommend one over the other?
I think multiplayer is significantly more fun.
Okay.
Because it's like Doug Millar's been playing it, and actually Doug Alberts and Mitch and I. It was funny. I was like trying to get Justin to get into it. And he's like, if you're still playing this game in 2 weeks, I'll get it. Which is
that's the
that is a fair response.
Perfect response for a Ryan recommendation.
100%
is
give me.
I'll wait for it to die out or stay on.
100%. 100%. Maybe the wisest thing anyone's ever said. So
good.
I don't know what it is about this game though that's just like drawing me in. I don't know if you get this feeling, like, you know that moment in D&D when there's not really a mission, but you're all doing something, and there's just that moment where everybody clicks, like you're playing, like maybe you're a thief and the bard like distracts the bartender, and then the thief like steals, and at the same time the warrior creates just like there's all these things happening that just clicks,
as a group.
and you're like, this is this is so cool. Like, this
Yeah.
is so fun. And you're building the story together. That's Zomboid.
Okay.
You're constantly building the story, and it's like, okay, you guys, we need food supplies. So take these bags, take these axes. Here's a map. We're going to mark this, which you need a pen to mark it, which is just a nice little thing. Like, you can't draw on the map unless you have a pen. And then the color pen you have depends on what color you can mark it. It's just all these these little things that are just like add up to create
like
this.
A very detailed Ryan game.
It's very fun. It's very, very fun. And like,
I love it. I feel like you love those like kind of little nitpicky details.
yes,
in a
it's
video
just
game.
I don't know. There's something about it that just feels like it feels like a world you can like get into. Like it's
Okay.
not game. It's not like gamey or like video gamey where it's like, oh, you gain these points.
Is this set in like?
So
how
it's
do I
set in like
describe this?
modern day Kentucky.
Is it? Ooh, I like the setting.
Right.
Okay. Is this like Rust? Like you start out naked on the
Nope.
streets?
You like, depending on what profession you start in, depends where you spawn, and it's always random.
Oh.
So if you're a burglar, which gives you the ability to hotwire cars,
okay.
you might spawn in a house. You might spawn in a police station.
Interesting.
If you're
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then like, so it's the location is depending on which person you choose. And then like, so let's say we're out on a run, right?
Yep.
And I die.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh crap, I got to get out of here. And you get out fine.
Yes.
And then I decide, okay, I'm going to spawn in as this new character. Let's say I'm a burglar. Ryan, I just spawned in at the police station. Can you come break me out? Like,
okay.
Like I'm in
so
I'm in a holding cell.
Here's one thing that they added that I don't think I'd be able to play without.
Okay.
And it's very immersion breaking, but it's super necessary to play with friends and have fun and be casual.
I really love that point because I feel like this is a mistake video games often make is they go too immersion focused to the point where the game becomes unenjoyable. The whole point of a video game is to be a fun experience.
Zomboid has a thing where you can just teleport someone to you.
Okay.
Or you can teleport to them.
Okay.
And it's
At any point,
at any point. So like,
even if you're in the middle of a horde.
yeah, so we make a rule that if you die,
Yeah.
we'll teleport you once to get you with the group. Then we don't use it again.
I kind of don't like that.
You don't have to use it.
I guess so. Okay. I do.
I'm sure you can also
I do
change in the settings.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I do really enjoy when video games let you dabble with those settings and allow you to decide
which
how
this
immersive
does.
it's gonna be.
You can be super. You can have it be
and
that
have, like,
all the zombies
accessibility
sprint. You can
settings.
like adjust
Okay.
there,
That's
and
cool.
also there's tons of mods for this game.
that. Okay.
Like a lot of mods.
Because I just like this kind of the scene we were setting up. That just sounds like a really cool like, oh crap, I died. Like,
Yep.
you gotta come break me out of this jail cell. Now.
And I
like,
think
that sounds
yeah.
like a cool like, oh, now we got to do this thing. You know, like a
Yeah.
good mission to go on.
And I think I would be down to play that once someone understands the map a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if it's your first
You gotta
time
get in
and
it.
it's like, bro, I don't know where I'm at. It's like, okay, you know, like, but if we've played a
Yeah.
couple times, you know,
Is there like a radar map?
no.
No. Okay.
It tells you where you are at. Does it? Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
there's
think
no like separate mini map.
There is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then you can pull out a larger map of the areas that you've discovered.
Okay. Is it like grayed out where you haven't gone?
Correct.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
There's 4 different
Still
spawns.
struggling with the isometric thing.
You know what I'm going to do?
No, I know what you're saying. I can picture it in my head. I just all of the things you're describing of this game
Yeah.
scream first person to me. You know,
Yeah.
like it's just
I'm gonna show you the game a little bit once we're
Okay.
done here, but it's and here's also why I like that it's isometric as opposed to first person shooter, because
I guess there's so many games like this now. Though, now that
because
I'm thinking about it.
the system of shooting and swinging things is not dependent on how good you are at aiming.
Yeah.
It depends on your character's aim.
Okay.
It depends on how nervous they are,
Yeah.
how tired they are,
Yeah.
and like. That would just feel really crappy if it's a first-person shooter, and all of a sudden my guy's like, you know, bobbing and weaving.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
like,
he's
what the
bad at
heck?
it.
It's
Yeah,
like,
it wouldn't work out.
so it's kind of fun to be like, okay, like I'm gonna use the shotgun, which also it's like,
I
it's
have a 50% chance to hit or something.
yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay.
And yeah, I think they just like how they navigate that is done really well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's just driving so stressful in that game, because it's like it's also like the camera doesn't move with the car, so it's really easy to like ram into a tree, which is like super great. Like there was literally a moment where we're driving, we just got this car, we siphoned gas out of other cars to fill it up, and we're like, all right, we're gonna go explore, and we're driving, and I swerve out of the way to not hit this this group of zombies, because they could get stuck in the tires and stop the car.
Yeah.
And I slam into a tree, and the car starts like I can't start it again. Come on, mechanic man, there's like a name for it.
When a car doesn't start?
Yeah, it's like it
won't turn over?
Yeah, I can't remember. There was it would turn on for a little bit and then turn off, and then turn on a little bit and then turn off, because there's also a whole car system.
Okay.
With engine and wheels and axle, I can't remember. But basically the car kept turning on and off, and so we kept like inching, and then like obviously the horde
it would stall.
Starts thank you. Stall was the word I was looking for. Okay. Thank you. It kept stalling.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, well, good luck, guys. And I sprinted out of there, and the zombies just pulled all of them out. And I was like, all right, that went horribly wrong. And then, of course, we got in an accident, so I was limping, and then more zombies came, and we all died. So, but like the reason I'm to wrap this all up, the reason I'm recommending this game is because we've talked at length about surviving a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And
good one for us.
And it's like we talk about it, and I'm like, this is the first game where I'm like, the stuff that we've talked about actually pays off in the game. Because if you think of it,
like
you're like,
it a try.
Oh, I need these kind of supplies. Where would I go? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to go here. Like there's just it's very, very fun.
I guess I'll leave this up to you. Ideally, I would like my first time to be playing this with you.
Yeah, I would.
Would you recommend that?
100%.
Okay. Because it sounds way more fun if you have a little bit of a guide and like you have some interaction with another player. But yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, I think the thing where I think you would enjoy it is that it's also like you were like, I want to play these more like RPG games, but I don't have to sink a ton of time into it.
Yeah, that's usually the tough part.
So like that's the thing about this game that's nice is like you're kind of meant to die.
Yeah, you get that RPG feel, but it's not so long term.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like you keep working and then you're behind. It's like, ooh, let's try something different. Let's try a playthrough where we don't have a home and we just live out of a van.
Yeah, well, and it also sounds nice if you're dying and coming in as new characters. That means like someone else could jump into your world.
It's not
late, and it won't be like daunting. Like all of you are level 100 and I'm 100%. 0, and it doesn't work. You know? It's just like, well, yeah, we're a new character every week. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So just hop in.
So it's just, and that's the thing is, it's like we could play like a more hardcore where it's like that's it.
Is this PC? I'm assuming.
Yeah. Okay. I've been playing on my Mac and it's been running really well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's my recommendation. First video game. Of course, it's like not a typical video game because I feel like the first book I recommended was not at all what like our viewers expect. But first video game, I think.
Looking forward to it.
I think first time you play with me.
Yeah.
And then I would say like even trying it by yourself a couple times. Like
yeah.
And it's fun because you play by yourself and you're like, oh, this is the worst. Like it's fun in its own challenging way, but you're like, I would not want to do this in real life. Like having a second player is like game changer, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
I can't wait. Let's do it.
All right. I feel like you're going to hate it, but we'll see.
We'll see. Hey.
Will this be Glenn's first?
First don't like it thing?
First don't like it thing.
I feel like it's going to be pretty rare for me on this podcast,
yeah, I
to
think
be honest
so.
with you.
I mean, even the thing I liked, I tore into today.
I mean, that's fine.
That's who we are.
This podcast would be very boring if we were just being like, I loved every second.
I liked it. Okay, bye.
It'd be like 30 seconds. That's no fun. I would just really like to encourage people once again to hit us up in comments, send us an email, recommendations required at gmail.com. We have gotten a couple emails for recommendations.
Have we really?
We have, yeah, for my sister.
I was gonna say, I was like, there's no shot they're not related to one of us.
Even if you don't like the things we're bringing up on the show, like, let us know that. Let us know what you'd want to hear about and stuff like that.
And please share this because that helps. And
yeah, definitely.
we'd love to grow it and turn it into something kind of
have a fun community.
Exactly.
I think last episode you had briefly mentioned maybe a Discord getting going.
Yeah.
That's all set up and ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Recommendations required Discord's all set up. I'm not really sure how to like send that out or put it in the show notes.
Well, here's the thing. We need people to join the Discord for it to be.
There are people in the Discord. I sent it out to friends.
How does half of the hosts on this podcast not know about the Discord we started?
I invited you.
Oh, okay.
I invited you on Discord. You never accepted it or joined it. So maybe it'll just be me interacting with you on the Discord. Someone doesn't.
You'll be
join.
the mod. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we're trying to form ways to interact with our listeners more. So please reach out. Yeah.
I think that is it. You're gonna try Project Zomboid.
Yeah.
You're gonna come to me with a recommendation.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Any last words?
I don't think so.
Some bad last words. All right. We'll see you in 2 weeks.